It's not.
He's not coming. He said,
No lawyers tonight.
both lawyers are gone.
Oh, boy. You always want to set up, you always want to at least one pair of lawyers.
Okay. Call the meeting to order at 5:34. And all is well. Okay, roll call. We have Mario, me, Gary, Casey, Kathy, John, Fiona, Ellen, Sue L, Sue F, Karen, Ken, David, and I forget your names. Julia.
And Armand.
Oh, Armand, sorry. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Ken. Ken.
David.
I said David.
Oh, you called him Ken.
I did call him Ken. Yeah, Ken Viega is gone. He bought a company in Essex, Noble Construction.
Really?
Yeah.
It's a Noble Construction?
He bought Noble because the guy was retiring. Yeah, we just gave him $40 million. That's okay. Sorry, David.
He's a good man.
It's okay.
So hopefully, yeah, it's down in Essex, so it's good. Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the agenda? The agenda, boy.
I'll move it.
Armand. Second, Gary. Any changes? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. The minutes are there. Take a moment.
No.
These are really good minutes.
Don't give her praise. Oh, man. We'll never live with her tomorrow.
Thank you, Armand.
You're welcome.
You know-
Remind Ed tomorrow.
She-
I will,
What I
absolutely.
said, okay?
Armin's sucking on it.
I am witnessing it.
She's not gonna hire you this year. Well, one change on the adjournment.
Okay.
Mr. Uclito made a motion to adjourn the meeting, second by Mr. Uclito.
Oh, no, did I?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Thank
Oh,
you.
there were such good minutes until then.
Till the
I
end.
only read that part.
Sorry about that.
I thought it was your double. No. God forbid we have two of them,
Oh,
you know?
One's enough. Sorry, I'll make you, I'll go back to my paper notes.
She just thought you wanted to get out of there.
I
It
think
must have been another
Really
Italian
badly,
name. It
yeah.
was probably
I think
Medici.
it was Armand,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just
I
a
think it
different
was
Armand.
Could have
Well, I'll
been.
tell you a funny story. When I lived in Manhattan, lower by Little Italy and Chinatown, when we had to go to Little Italy, I changed my name to Aramino. I got right in. It was perfect. I said Aram. Public participation?
Well, no one approved yet.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm glad you're around.
I'll move
because-
them.
Oh, she's a stickler.
No,
I'll move them.
Second. That's Armand and Gary.
yeah.
I got it now. Thank you.
Any changes, anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
I abstain, I
Oh,
wasn't
that's
there.
Better place.
Yeah.
It was a nice place, no offense.
Public participation, anybody, Allison? No, okay. Okay. First one is slam contract, you have it, you want another copy? We've gone through it with our attorney from Shipman and Goodwin, Christine, and myself were the ones who went through it. It's delayed a little bit because of Slam had a sickness in one of the principals, was out for a couple of weeks. But everything is agreed to, and if it's okay, we'll send it to the Board of Ed for their approval.
I trust in you. I'm fine with it. I don't have it here, but.
It was, I can give you another.
No, I don't want to come. I thought, because
It
everybody's
was
looking for it.
emailed to everybody.
Oh,
Yeah, everybody's looking for it.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm fine.
One copy of it. Emailed with every, the appendices and everything, A through F.
Okay.
And Shipman Goodwin and Slam's attorney, we worked on it.
Yeah, it was a good process.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
And
We all worked.
like you
hard on
said,
that.
delayed because
Yeah.
our contracts officer was out for 3 weeks. For the family issue.
And so can I move it to the, motion to move it to the Board of Ed?
I'll move it.
Second.
Second. Any discussion? And Gary, yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, architect update. You have, I just gave you a packet, because we
You have a
wanted
packet.
everything which Casey wanted, and they sent it to me today, and you have a copy of it?
Alice, am I all set to share? Okay. Thank you. Everybody knows who I am. Julia is here with me today. Amy is on her way to, I believe, Vermont.
Yeah, graduation.
She's getting
I
ready.
said, she's too young to have a kid in college,
See
graduate.
her oldest daughter graduate college tomorrow, so that's exciting for her. I think she's on the line. Probably-
Yes, thank you all for saying I'm young.
You are.
So we're here tonight to review the schematic design package. We are finalizing our package tomorrow, and we will have it delivered to O&G and the estimators by Monday morning, first thing, and they will start the estimating process. I think that's a 3-week process according to the schedule, something like
Yeah,
that.
so we'll basically start on Wednesday. We'll get it Monday, get it out, hope we get out to the printer. If we get out to the printer early Monday, we'll start it on Tuesday, so.
Okay, great. And we will also get it to our third-party estimators, and they will be doing the same, and then we'll reconcile when they're both done. So that is right on schedule with our current schedule, so we're pleased about that.
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Who is the third-party estimator? Is that,
It's a contract that we have with PM&C is the name of the firm that we're hiring.
okay,
They're out of Boston, and we've used them on several projects.
thank you.
Sure. So tonight, we're going to go through the rendered site plan. We're going to go through the building floor plans, and Julia's going to walk through the exterior images. We've got a printout in front of you, so hopefully you've already taken a preview of that. Starting with the site plan. There we go. I think most of you are familiar with this. The building is taking residence in the southwestern corner of the site with the middle school bar here, the performing arts and other assembly spaces, as I call them, the cafeteria and kitchen in this area, the middle school gym approximately there. And as we've talked about, we're going to completely rehab and totally reface, which you'll see in the images that we show shortly, the existing gym block for the high school gym. And then, of course, the high school wing, 4-story wing with a lower level along this edge here
Yeah.
is in the southwest
Yeah.
extreme
Ken,
corner.
one question.
Sure.
Ken? Or Ken, excuse me.
Ken,
I know. Can we call this gym the new gym?
The new gym, sure.
Because
Mhm.
it's being misinterpreted by the public.
Absolutely.
It's become a lightning rod.
It will be,
It is a brand new
it will
gym.
be a brand
If you
new.
look at, when we get to the pictures,
It's
brand new.
I know it is. So,
But, yeah.
And this, just so you know, I sent an invitation to city council and the mayor to come tonight. What I will do, and Mario and I talked about it, they will get everything, every time. Just so you know.
Good idea.
So can they get it with the word new?
Well,
Yep.
when they look at it,
Put you
it's,
on there.
I
But
know.
still, just so
I
it's
know.
out there.
Absolutely.
And
That's how we'll refer
just
to
one
it.
other question. Mark Bushka gets everything too on the Board of Finance.
Okay.
All right, continuing on. As we've talked about before, we are working with a portion of the Bessie Park property, or Best Park property, excuse me for mispronouncing it. Relocating the main entrance drive to the east edge here and basically swapping what's there today. Parking is on the east edge and the main drive is here. So we're flip-flopping that, increasing the amount of parking in that area, but also incorporating the parent drop-off for both schools here, with an entrance to the middle school here and the entrance to the high school here. And then as you continue through, we have the bus loop around here, which can stack, I believe it's around 12 buses on this L shape. And then you can have a queue zone here, so you can phase the buses in.
What about the pre-K drop-off?
Yes, thank you. Let me just finish up here. We
Oh,
also
sorry.
have parking in the center here for, I believe, another 150 years, 100 cars or so. Also, the pre-K drop-off is down along this edge. So this is a fire lane that goes around the entire facility. And this portion of it is a drive down the slope to the lower walkout level. And there's about 12 to 16 parking spaces down here to facilitate drop-off of students.
So they drop off and then go back out the same way?
And then they turn around and come back out. Yep.
Okay,
There's a turnaround at the bottom.
okay.
And then the service drive comes around this side of the gymnasium. And we're planning to develop this area to the northeast of the gymnasium as a plaza type space, which is kind of the entrance to the fields zone. And so this still needs to be fully developed and designed, but that's kind of what we've got going on here. So it's a drivable plaza to get to the loading area and where we have all the dumpsters and the trash and so forth, over by the loading dock and the kitchen, which is a good service location. The existing stadium is essentially remaining as is. There will be some fringe redevelopment around the edges to integrate it to the full site design. And then, as you can see, we've incorporated a full varsity baseball field, a varsity softball field, and then a JV and practice softball field. 6 new tennis courts adjacent to the back side of the grandstand. And then the full multi-purpose field over here with a half-size practice football field. Now the football field has some overlap with javelin throw and discus throw, but we had to do that in order to fit it all in. We don't think there'll be a conflict since track and field is a spring event, football is a fall event, so we should be able to have good dual purpose use of that zone of the site. And then of course the travel aisle goes around the perimeter of the site. For the most part, this daily drive extension here is essentially where it is today. So there's very little disturbance to the grading in that zone, which we're happy about because it's going to save costs on that regard. We do have some parking along the edge there. And then of course, parking around the whole perimeter of the baseball field and some in here as well, trying to maximize. We have 468 spaces total. Yes.
For the trucks to drop off, is there a turnaround or do they go around and?
There's a turnaround here. The reason this widens out like this is because it accommodates the turning movements of the truck. So it can come in, turn around,
Like a
and
big,
then back
huge
into
truck?
the loading dock
Okay.
here,
Okay,
and
good.
then exit the same way.
Can I ask you a question about the softball field and the orientation of that? Is that an optimal orientation, or the field is looking into the sun?
These are all
The
fairly
softball
close
field.
to, yeah, this one here.
Yeah.
very close to optimal. Optimal is northeast, which is approximately like this.
Okay.
And so optimal from home plate through the second base is the line that you really want to have for northeast orientation. So it's slightly to the east from optimal,
But it's good.
but it's much better than it
Better
was
what it
before.
is now.
And then these two are optimal.
But there's a bank there too.
Yes, you have a slope
So-
to the side.
Yeah, it might not be,
Well, I'm thinking the sun would be this way.
yeah.
Sun would be,
It's not as bad
the
as Bishop
southeast.
Donnelly. I think it would be a lot better.
And remember, this is east, so, you know, the sun in your eyes will be
Yeah.
there in the morning. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there will be, you know, some west sun for the fielders.
Mm.
But it's, you know, I think it's as close to optimal as we could fit it in, because as you can see, we're trying to squeeze in quite a few fields into this area.
In keeping with that squeezing, can we just keep it open that I'd like to see the soccer and football fields 210 by 360 if it's possible. If it's not possible, it's not.
210.
That would match the size of the stadium field. And that's the perfect world, but if it can't be done, it can't be done.
We will look into that. You can see, I was about to mention that there are a few encroachments that we've unearthed with the survey. This cul-de-sac is encroaching on the Board of Ed property pretty substantially. We wanted to talk with the committee and talk with the city planner's office about potentially looking to maybe relocate that a little bit further outside, because that would give us a little bit more relief on that edge with that field. And that may allow us to extend that if we get that kind of relief. And then there's also an encroachment, it looks like a small encroachment here of the parking lot of the apartment complex on that edge, but probably less important because it's down slope.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to affect our layout. Any other questions on the site?
Is that cul-de-sac where our fence is, where the gate is to shut
Yes.
the?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
gate is right there. And there's a fence that kind of goes around like that.
That thing's huge.
It is,
Even as far as cul-de-sacs go.
Right.
yeah.
It's quite big.
Yeah.
And because my only concern about doing any work on the cul-de-sac and maybe enlarging it outside the footprint is it becomes an unreimbursable expense because it's off your property. So I think we need to have a conversation with the city about how that might go about coming to pass. But any work in here would be eligible. I think later in the agenda we're going to talk about the best park
Yes. I
update,
had to
so I'm not
hand
going to
that
get into that right now.
I just have one other question. Is that a public road or a private?
This
street?
is a public road back
Yeah.
here. Any other questions on the layout? I guess I didn't talk about the courtyard, which this is very schematic development, but we've got some outdoor classroom spaces identified with some walking paths within. The intent is that you'd be able to exit from the school building at grade on both sides. And then we're still developing ideas for how we might have an outdoor performance area, whether it's just a slab type platform. We are looking at maybe grading the center of the courtyard such that you can have some sloped seating on the grass. So that these types of things are going to come a little bit further on in the design development as we move forward. Any thoughts on the courtyard?
Well, it's embraced really with the high school wing and middle school wing with the focal point, the centerpiece is this auditorium, because you really have a strong performing arts program, and it will be a beautiful venue for outdoor concerts, performances, for graduations. It's just very protective. You will see it later in a exterior views. It feels intimate enough and large enough, but there's certain openness to it that can really be beautiful addition to your school. I mean, you already have a courtyard. This one will just be open and a little bit differently shaped, more organic, because we took a clue really from the pond and tried to make a building to fit the site and follow the contours of the site.
Thanks, Julie. Yeah. One last thing I forgot to mention, the entrance for the central office is on this edge of the building, approximately right there. And there is a walk from this parking zone here along the edge, and you enter there, and there's an elevator lobby as you enter, and you go up to the 4th floor where the central office component is.
Don't say that.
So floor plans, do you want to do this?
The floor plans are developing further. There's this major organization of 2 academic wings and then assembly wing that Kent was mentioning with the focal point again of auditorium, and then we have a cafeteria with a dining zone right here. So in a case that you have event, you can just move the chairs and have a nice large space for a gathering or for any like large school events. So the circulation is very, very clear. We work on a separation between the middle school and high school students, so they're not crossing a path. We are working now closely with the superintendent and the principals of the school to fine-tune the spaces, to check all adjacencies, and we will keep working on it while we reach what is optimal for you, what works the best for you. So we are just like developing it further. We can show you the
Right.
all.
I think one important thing to note, I think most of you know that, if not all of you, that this is all 1 floor level. And this floor matches the floor level of the gym, and it's all on the main level, which I think is very important, that you have that kind of continuity. And we've outlined in red lines and blue lines the circulation paths for the middle school students in blue and the high school students in red, and how they interface with those internal common spaces, the cafeteria, auditorium, and music spaces in the middle. And then the gymnasium spaces have been segregated such that it's very easy for the middle school students to get into their gym as it is for the high school students to get into their gym.
As we mentioned before, all entrances are separated from a high school entrance, middle school entrance, the central office entrance here with the lobby that it's actually can be accessed from both ends. And you have a nice community entrance here with the concession stand that can be open from outdoors and indoors. And the school store that can be located here or can move down there. We're still working on it. Do we have any questions about floor plan?
Yeah, and then this is a composite of all 5 floors of the building. We were focusing on this one on the previous slide. There's some lower level space in the high school, which is our art rooms, the pathway spaces, and the preschool space, which is also a pathway space. And then a small basement area underneath the cafeteria zone to support mechanical spaces, some overall building storage, and the middle school locker rooms are down in that area.
And you can see that every classroom, every space has a exterior wall exposure and has a window. So it will be plenty of the daylight and views for all students and teachers. And then like focal spaces that have the best view will be dedicated to library, on both ends, to administration, so that they can have a good observation of who is coming to the site. And we have on the top floor central office. This way they will also have their privacy
Right here.
and the nice views.
Right, and the media centers for both schools are on the 3rd floor on the end overlooking the entrances to the school and the site, which is a very nice placement. And science rooms are the orange. In the case of the high school, they are stacked on the upper 3 floors. And then in the case of the middle school, they are also stacked on the upper 2 floors. Middle school is a 3-story wing, high school is a 4-story wing with a small sub-level.
And we will have decentralized administration. Some of the assistant principals will be on each floor so that they will have a more personal contact with the students.
Any questions on the plans? We're really pleased with the way the plans have come together. As Julia mentioned, very clear circulation, very clear what we call Part T and flow.
So wayfinding throughout the school will be easy.
All right. We did include a couple of additional slides. These are typical classrooms. These will be part of our schematic design final package. We thought it was important to just show the typical classroom for the middle school on the left and high school on the right. And there's an example of the teaching wall on the upper right, and then an additional support teaching wall or just a group use wall with a whiteboard, and then a typical millwork wall where you have the entrance and then you have storage and cabinetry in each classroom. So you have that ability to have book storage or other materials being stored in each classroom. And that's typical for both high school and middle school. And then this is just a blow up of the central administration offices, and with a little bit further fine-grained detail of the departments within the central office space. Any questions on that? We have, without going through it all, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So what you really want to see is some of our exterior images.
So we are developing further exteriors of the building. We love how it relates to the pond and the nature around it. And so this is a view as we're approaching the site. So now you have an entire complex. So building really reads almost as a campus. You have a high school auditorium with a courtyard, glimpses of a courtyard, middle school, and in the background a gymnasium and a gym entrance. A little bit more of the close-up with the prominent entrances. This is where we have a mostly open area. And when Kemp was talking about, sorry, this is a jumping around, about the entrance to, so high school entrance will be from the drop-off pickup. Then we have a central office entry here, and land is sloping down and following the building around. So we will have a preschool parking and convenient entrance for young children and parents. We are articulating windows and fenestration to break it down so that it will feel like intimate and not too long a facade. I'm sorry for this, but it's just totally jumping. So because the wings are angled, so you have this interesting play of the entrance to the other. We are working on a signage. So this is something that we will discuss with you. So more of the view of the high school, and again, glimpse of this facade. So you will have, like, when you enter, the glazed corridor will guide you by the courtyard. So you will enjoy this landscape, indoor and outdoor relationship all the way until you get to cafeteria and kitchen, and then you can get exit on the other side.
Excuse me, Julia.
Yes.
Just a quick question. On that picture, that frame around that glass, what material is that?
So on we were thinking about this Paraplex or some sort of wood composite panel. And that would be on the three sides that are like recessed and slanted. And the lower slide should be metal because of the rain and elements. So we were limiting a wood accent panel to the areas that are either soffit or recessed that are not so exposed to the rain and snow.
What is the useful life of that product? Because I'm just looking down the road for us to try to replace it. It'll never happen. We never even replace roofs, never mind soffit panels or, so,
Well, they are making
Something we need to
several
consider.
different products with a different type of warranty, so we are going to research this. I mean, if you're completely concerned, like there is a metal panel that it's painted like a wood that can have, but again, they have different warranty just for the finishes. There is ARPA, TRESPA, a panel that has certain warranty, and we worked with we used Prodema
I mean,
products.
metal simple, I mean, metal, even if it was all metal, at least if they're gonna refinish it, you come back and you can spray it with a China or whatever the finish is. And that's relatively cheap, but we're talking about capital improvement plans for the last 3 months. We don't, again, it's not up to me. I think we should evaluate the long-term.
And we will present this
Yeah, okay.
to you. We will present you materials again with the warranty and with clear explanation. What does it mean? Does it mean that they will replace those panels within a 20 years period and then they are all yours, or so we will work on all of this.
I think what's important is that for schematic, we're buying a certain price point of material. The material selection is still yet to be determined. We're suggesting certain aesthetic that we're trying to get. We could get that aesthetic with a variety of different materials.
Yes, the important thing is to bring some warmth into buildings. So that
I think you look, I'm just, in 20 years, we won't replace it.
Yeah.
And as Julia mentioned, there's a product called Longboard, which is it's actually aluminum extrusion, and then it is finished as if wood. It really looks great. The warranty on that finish is, I think, in the neighborhood of 15 years, but that is just for the finish. You know, if it's an aluminum panel, then it's going to last much longer than that. And as you mentioned, you know, it could be refinished in the future.
And if it's up high in the air, then it can really live as a natural. Then it's like in vicinity when children can touch it and feel it, then it makes big difference really if it's natural wood or some different material. But what we are looking is to get this warm feeling and the combination of different materials. Not too many, just enough so that the building will look pleasant and we can detail it nicely. Another glimpse of the courtyard, and this would be this interior corridor that I was mentioning, where one school can look into the other. So there is this friendly relationship between them, even if they're completely separated, as we explained.
But remember that, I mean, for instance, that's the entrance to the school, so it will be what everybody sees for 50 years. And or hopefully longer. And all I'm saying is that if we can at least have a good education as to what we can get in lieu of that, just in case, because if it's a 15-year life, you know, it's not going to be fixed. And that's what, it's the problem we have with the school now. All you see are those 1/4 inch or 1/8 inch asbestos panels that have never been fixed, replaced, and they painted once. So it's just long-term, you know, to consider that, because it is the entrance.
Yes.
I don't know, you want to come back in 20 years and see it all corroded and I'm just being honest. It's just the way it's been done for years. We want to
We'll
avoid
have
that.
a chance to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that. I'm just trying to point it out that
Yeah.
we have a history. You know, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
We're starting new now.
Yeah, we'll be good.
We'll be pushing up the daisies by the time they rot.
Maybe they use our ashes to.
That far.
So this is a view of the middle school from the fields. So as you can see, there are a lot of repetitive elements that we're looking at Torrington to have some vertical areas and some also shading devices because the sun is looking east.
So you're thinking of having the T that's in the front back there?
that was my question really for you. Where would you like to relocate this sculpture? It can be in the middle of the parent drop-off pickup between the two schools.
Yeah, in that little courtyard.
And yes, so I thought that somebody was like mentioned that it's maybe too much into people's eyes, so we moved it over there. But it would be quite nice to have it in a right here between the two entrances. It's a beautiful sculpture. I mean, it talks about history and connection between a really town and a school. And now that you have a career path, it's even more relevant, I think.
And you see it first thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you come in, I think, you know, if you go back a couple, I'm gonna go back. Wait, let me do it. Right there. So as you're coming in and you see it right
Right in that circle,
center, I think
yeah.
it would be really powerful.
So
Yeah, and clean.
Looks like clear water.
this one is.
We all have nets for before
Now we are looking at the entrance to the gymnasium. This would be community entrance for after-school activities and also bus drop-off. And so we are providing clarity so everybody knows where the entrance is. This is actually canopy that will protect children if it's raining, snowing. As I mentioned, concession stands and completely new cladding around the locker rooms. We didn't know if you would like to put a sign, athletic sign there. No, because the
That's
Not
gonna
that
change, not
Not
that
that
one. Not that one.
Say, wow, isn't it pretty
That's
good?
okay. Everything else looks beautiful.
You gotta take that sign off.
Yeah.
That's not what we can
we're
use.
not sure. So middle school, high school, actually middle school has a quite a
No
nice,
worries.
cute
You
one.
know, it's
It's just an
Yeah.
update.
One question, what is that
cultural appropriation.
asphalt in front of the outside of the concession stand? Is that a walkway?
Oh, it will be a walkway here because people who are watching the games, outdoor games, they can come here for
Go
refreshment.
for it.
And,
Yeah, no, so no cars will drive there.
No, there is a pathway. I think maybe shown already on the side. And we are looking at the different colors also for the cladding. Should it be like darker or maybe lighter gray?
Oh, yeah.
So we will still be bringing samples of the different materials and until we find really what works best for you and for this school. Just another look at the community entrance that you have now in this school and the transformation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Night and day.
Little nicer.
Again, look at the basic materials that we are thinking of. And as I said, we will be working on it and presenting you with the different
It is.
options.
Thanks, Joy. So before we move on to the geotechnical update, any other comments, questions, discussion about the exterior images, the floor plans, light plan?
It's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of thought
Really.
into,
The team has done a fantastic job.
absolutely.
They really have. It's been a very hard crunch the past 4 weeks or 5 weeks because, as you know, we were still moving big pieces of the building around about 5 weeks ago. So to pull this together, I got to give kudos to the team.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it.
Looks great. Thank you. Good job.
Especially the new gym.
The new gym,
New gym.
the new gym looks
In
great.
2 weeks, we got a new gym. One night.
One night, yeah.
That's awesome.
So we have had the geotech folks out. They've done a series of borings. They've done nearly 20 borings for the building in the red. And then they're a little bit hard to see, but there's a green highlights for the different site borings that we've done. I think we've done about 12 to 15 site borings around the site just to get a good characterization of the underground conditions. And Gary, you were right. This is fill in this area. We are still analyzing the extent of
Can't,
it.
don't tell him he's right, come on.
I gotta tell him he's right if he's
Okay.
right.
Now I won't be
Lost,
able to
but,
live with
lost a
him.
lot of money on Phil.
We will, we're still characterizing it, we're still getting the boring logs are still being finalized, and we'll get,
I did go up in the mornings. I mean, I thought it was, I'm sure OMG. I was thinking, it's a lot of rock, he said, a lot of boulders and
cobbles and
Cobbles
boulders.
and boulders.
Yep,
wonder if you can crush and reuse, but then I was thinking, what about the noise? And how can you take care of the noise? But you
I
certainly,
I think we're probably gonna have some of that regardless of whether we do
Right.
crush the boulders, because we're gonna have, in this area where we have the little hill right now.
Yeah.
Right now, that's being planned to be leveled down a little bit, and so there's gonna be, I think there's rock in there.
they did say it was good material. It's just fill. It's good fill.
It is decent fill, and we've put the question to Welty's office about, can the fill be amended to bear structural loads and so forth. So we'll get some more information on that.
Yeah.
For the next meeting.
Kev, one question. So is there an intention to have some level of that geotechnical data accompany the SD package so our site estimators can review it?
Yes, we're working to get that preliminary report from Welty's office as soon as possible.
It's as deep as 15 to 20 feet in some places.
Yes, the fill ranges anywhere from 7 to 20 feet.
Yeah.
I think the deeper fill is,
Right.
in this corner. I think, I'm not positive on that, but I would expect that's where it'll be.
Actually, I think on the upper, believe it or not,
Up here?
you found some big stuff closer to the drive around.
Oh,
Some
okay.
real deep stuff, yeah.
So, as we get that information, we'll share it and everybody can scrutinize it.
Now it's up to
But
the
we will,
cells.
we'll learn the impacts of what that means on the budget. I think,
You're gonna have the
it
same
is
problem in
important
that
to know.
parking area, Ken.
Pardon?
That new area the city's giving us, that whole parking area was a swamp. That's all fill, so it's gonna be a parking lot, so
Right.
it's not as critical, but you wanna, you're gonna have to consider it. Or just reclaim and pay over.
Yeah, I've studied the history of this pond and it's shrunk quite a bit over the years.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
I think it went out to here at one point.
Those were the
The
good old
state
days.
decided to put a road in.
Yeah.
And I think similar things, but not quite to the same extent on this edge.
Right.
But, so, yeah.
And the geese have moved over to tech, so.
One thing to note, we may need to spend a little money to amend the fill that's there, but I think that's going to be less expensive than relocating all the utilities that are coming through the site here, because that would be a very substantial undertaking. So, I think the decision to put the building in this corner is still the right decision that we came to a while back. Not to mention it preserves the area for the fields.
So you're saying there's all utilities? Back
There's a major drainage line that comes through here. And if you were to put a building in this vicinity, as well as there's a few more here. you can
Okay,
see
but
them
it's
here.
okay with the fields there?
It's fine with the fields. there.
Okay,
It's just,
gotcha. I
You
was
wouldn't
just
want
trying
to put a
to
building on top of that. So we would,
get it in my head. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because we had to sleeve one of those lines for the new track and all that.
oh, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we certainly wouldn't want to take it up here. So if we had to relocate it, we would have to go, do something like that. which is-
And there's also a transformer through that property because it took out our fields and Daily Drive, people over there had to fix it because it went through, remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All sorts of
Yeah, the only other thing
bits
is
of information.
the apartments on the right, that's where our transformer is. So we want to get rid of it because every time it goes out over there.
On this side or over here?
Where that cul-de-sac is.
Right here, okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to get with you and understand that a little bit better.
Yeah.
Make sure that our engineers understand what you're talking about. So that's the update on geotech. Any other questions for that? I think that's,
Right, and Sue had a meeting with both principals and with Amy
Amy and Amy.
Amy and Amy. So,
Susan the Amy's.
yeah, I left that behind, I didn't go in there. So Amy, are you still on there, Amy?
She's in Vermont.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, okay.
Do
you wanna-
She may not be on there.
So we were just going back over and fine tuning, similar to what Julia had shared earlier, looking at floor plans, checking back with music departments and teachers and different areas so that we could kind of shave off here, but add here, look at our enrollments again. So a lot of fine tuning, making sure that we're really maximizing the space for what we really need. So it's good to continue. People have been great. I've been asking them questions. So they'll get back to me during their prep time and email us so that we can share with Amy and Amy and they can plan and make the adjustments. And both Amy's have been fabulous, just trying to get creative in terms of meeting our needs, but still staying within our space allocations. That's the tricky part. Right? I know you folks live this every day, but for us, it's like, oh,
Right.
you know, it's scary to change it, but we want to be honest with you too.
Yeah, and,
What in terms of what our needs are.
and we want to make sure that sequences of function and activities are appropriate. So,
Right.
Right, as I mentioned on the call the other day, you know, it's a very complex program and we want to think it through thoroughly and make sure that we're addressing all the little nuances of the program and how users are going to use the building daily.
Yeah, example, right, special ed was another piece, trying to make sure that that flow worked. Yeah.
Who knew, right? Some of these detailed things that you never thought would require so much thought, you know, like where should the sheet music be stored? Required a 30-minute conversation. So, yeah.
And how much
Required
space.
a 30-minute conversation or resulted in it?
Resulted in really,
Maybe
but honestly, it was, you know, you really have to think about these things and just, I mean, with your help, right? Things that we might not think about.
And as we move into design development, there'll be more of those discussions and it'll get
Yeah.
into a finer grain of detail to the point of, you know, where do we want whiteboards? Where do we want data jacks? Where do we want this? Where do we want that?
and thank you so much for finding the time and responding quickly. No,
Sure.
Yeah, you've been great.
Thank you.
It's been great.
It is fun, even though it does sometimes result in longer conversations than we thought.
Yeah, can I just have one more question? I'm
What
sorry,
you
but
learn.
I keep thinking about this at work, but have you done a pervious impervious calculation to see if we can have to, it'd be nice if we could store water above ground, but it doesn't look like there's any place to store above ground.
There's really not much room, if any, to do that.
Does
I know that the engineer is doing those analyses right now. Well, I'm sure they've completed it to a schematic level. But, you know, with the field coverage, there's no real area for
No, I know.
above grade storage. And I don't think we're putting anything into the pond. I think we're net zero on that.
Wouldn't hurt it.
To make it bigger.
But I can get you a report on that, Gary, for next time, just to give you an understanding of
Another way to save money, it's just a lot of money.
the site runoff. I'm hopeful, I'm sure that Will has done the analysis, but to allow for infiltration.
Maybe consider impervious pavement versus, I mean, to put, we just did 5 acres underground. And it's a football field full of tanks.
Yeah.
But going where you have all that fill coming in might be far more expensive than impervious pavement. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it passes the test. I mean, make it flooding in 20 years.
Yeah, pervious pavement
What does that mean?
is an option. So pervious pavement is, it's a pavement that has a lot of
Holes,
kind
basically.
of holes in it. So the rainwater can pass through it and infiltrate into the ground rather than collecting it and running it off and storing it.
You can't store it above ground. You have to put it in big, huge concrete tanks underground or plastic.
But the galleys where we divert it into the galleys underground also allows it to infiltrate into the ground, but it just happens underground. But you do have to store that volume of water in a storm event. And so pervious pavement is good, but it also comes with a lot of maintenance.
I know, I know,
Yeah,
Especially in the Northeast too.
Yeah.
I know.
right, wouldn't that like break up?
Well, it's just, when you're
Like
sitting
wear
down on
and
it
tear,
for snow
yeah.
control and things like that, it's.
Sand gets into the holes.
Yeah.
You
Plug
have to
the holes.
vacuum it out periodically.
Oh, really?
And if you
Yeah.
use sand and
You're
salt.
supposed to.
Right, and then,
Supposed to replace the roofs too.
We don't need more
Yeah,
maintenance,
that's
Gary.
It require, you can do it and you can use ice melt materials that aren't sand. But
I've
then
used it on small
that comes
parking
with
lots.
Another,
Yeah.
so I think that ends our piece. And if
Right.
you want to go into.
The next one is the School Safety Design Committee. Everybody, people on the committee should have received a letter stating that our first meeting is Tuesday, May 25th, 3 to 4:30 at the Board of Ed. Myself, Sue, Mario, John, Baldwin, Ally, John Kisco, Armand, Amy, if Ken can make it, Chief Baldwin and Chief Towie will be at that meeting. I will hand out at that meeting the 50-page report on School Safety Infrastructure Council. So that's set for the meeting. That subcommittee of the building committee that met. You have in your packet, you have Mario's
His email.
Never ends.
Yes, the update of the meeting, and then I attached our draft of the memorandum of understanding. Our attorney has that, just looking at it, make sure if we put in a contract or an MOU. Remember, it's 10 years, and with the only thing we not changed, but told them that it's the apprenticeships is 4 times a year, between 48 and 60 kids will be in that apprenticeship every year. So after 10 years, hopefully there's 600 kids, which,
A lot of houses.
yes.
Fiona's got a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chair, just from a process standpoint, because it's a little bit confusing to me, because initially when the city asked that we establish this subcommittee with, 3 members of city council and 3 members of building committee, it was my understanding that that subcommittee was going to make the recommendation to the city council.
Correct.
So what I'd like to ask, just because I feel like the subcommittee has put the time into this and the rest of the members of the building committee didn't. So I
Right.
think it's very difficult
Yeah.
for us to now chime in. So I'd like to request that we move a vote to accept the subcommittee's recommendation out of respect for all the members
Yeah.
that put the time in to the city council as the building committee's recommendation.
Right.
Makes sense.
So moved.
Do you have that, Suze?
Second, anybody?
Anybody second?
Armand?
Armand.
All in favor?
Aye.
So who did it? Gary and.
Gary and Armand.
Gary and Gary.
We're on the same team tonight.
Oh,
And,
For me.
Also, we want to make sure that whether it's an MOU or contract, our attorney's looking at it, that this is signed before anything else is signed.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
Who's working on that? From our attorneys working on it?
Yeah, our attorney's always working.
I have a question, Ed.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility of extending beyond 10 years for the apprenticeship? I mean, is there like anything that you can, like it could be discussed maybe to,
Yeah, what it-
I think we've reached an extraordinary agreement with them.
For 10 years.
Yes, I don't think so.
okay.
You can
okay.
bet though, in 10 years, if it's working, they're not.
That's true.
No, because they
Okay.
can't, they're just.
Because it's a feeder
trying.
for them.
It's
Right,
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 exactly.
yeah.
Right.
It could. Yeah.
We're very pleased to get 10 years.
10
out of
years.
it.
Oh,
You know, they- yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's my guess.
I just
So,
also wanted to thank the subcommittee members.
Yeah.
I know you guys put a lot of time in
Yep.
the
Yeah.
meetings and outside of the meetings, so thank you all for your work.
Yeah.
Was there any conversation with the Building Trades Council about, did they, as far as how comfortable they feel about those 2 goals that they're talking about, putting in the PLA, the 25% Torrington resident and 30% Litchfield County, did they look at their
Yeah, we had that
rosters and
discussion.
head counts?
Yeah.
And again, I just,
It's a goal.
I know it's a goal, it's not a requirement, it's
it's-
just setting an expectation if we don't.
I don't think
From
it
a public
could.
standpoint,
yeah,
you don't want to over-establish something and then
Right.
you're gonna be
Yeah.
fighting, why are we not hitting it, why are we not hitting it? So I
No,
would
the
just,
discussion included, I think you folks bringing up 10 to 15%. In the past, some schools have achieved the 20 to 22, but by and large, it's been running in the 10 to 15. And then there was the understanding.
okay.
Is, did they have some foresight that by the time we start breaking ground that there's going to be a larger labor pool from this area to pull from? Is that why they're saying 25%, 30%? I mean, was there any
No,
thought?
no.
Okay.
No, it's just the number they use.
Yeah.
Well,
like
you know,
their
I was
standard
Torrington.
language.
Why didn't we extend it to Litchfield County?
We did.
They did.
30%.
30%.
Oh, well, 30%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's right, that's right.
Yeah, we did. So,
We'll get good. We'll get decent numbers.
So on June 7th, it's gonna go in front of the council, the recommendation.
Right.
I think Fiona's gonna present that.
no, it is.
I think Fiona's gonna present it.
We'll be there with her.
She just found out.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Is it coming from us or from the Board of Ed?
Coming from, well, the mayor claims the Board of Ed. I don't think that's right at all.
Well, no.
No,
No.
Um,
So, I mean, if it's
It's
a
us.
building committee, it should be a building committee, well, I'm gonna say chair, but if the chair doesn't want to do it, someone from the building committee should be presenting.
it's not that the chair doesn't want to do it. I think that it's
Better communication.
Okay.
been communicated that
Right,
perhaps
less cussing.
Yes.
Fiona should do it.
Yes.
So, they
We'll be
will,
there to back her up.
we're gonna present that night, but it's also their budget night.
Yeah.
So they want time to digest it and come back at next meeting and then make a declaration at that time.
Which would be also in June,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I think they said like 2 weeks later or
Yeah,
something.
2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So you okay with that, Fiona?
It's interesting because they extended the budget till June 15th, but it's
Mr.
interesting.
Cavanero wanted time.
Yeah.
To think about the pluses and the minuses of each route we could possibly go.
To think about.
So that we're going
Yeah.
to 7th.
Yes, we are.
Budget's going to the 15th.
50.
Yeah, this was as of the other night.
Yeah.
They said, let's not make a decision because it's budget night. I don't know if that's
Well, it
new.
doesn't sound like it's budget night anymore.
No, I don't know if that's new information, the 15th or not, but
No, that's just what they told us, that they're
From the
extending the
state, right.
budget to the 15th.
So we might get a shot.
Either way,
But I
Yeah.
think they're gonna have the budget, from what I remember, the budget presented on the 7th. So they want everyone to present,
Okay.
not that they're
I
gonna
think
make
it'd be
a
good if the
decision, but
subcommittee can be there.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I
absolutely.
think so too.
Yeah.
Yes,
There'll be a lot of people there.
that's good.
So, the
Seven?
7th, yeah.
Is it at 7?
7 o'clock.
7 on
I don't
7.
know.
I'm not sure
I
the
think
time
it's
myself.
6.
Okay.
Is it 7 or 6:30?
Yeah. usually I think
Well, they
it's
start at
6:30.
6 or 6:30.
Yeah, I thought it
Okay.
was 6 or 6:30. You'd have to check
6:30, I think.
if you can find it on their
Yeah.
website.
Do we need to present them anything in advance? I mean, other than this email I sent them,
Yeah, and then we'll attach the
the
MOU.
Yeah.
draft.
I think we should attach everything.
okay? So I mean, she specifically formed the subcommittee to make a recommendation.
We did.
So it would be logical to follow the recommendation. It was
unanimous.
unanimous
Yes, it was
with
unanimous.
with Councilwoman Ruette being absent, but it was unanimous.
Good.
So,
But just as it took us a little while to really digest it and understand it, they're gonna need to do that too. It's not just as simple as, I'm anti-union or I'm, pro-open shop. There's a lot of nuances to the whole thing, not the least of which is the apprenticeship program, of course.
which is,
And I would have hoped that they would have attended the subcommittee meetings if they were ultimately going to be the ones to vote on it. But neither here nor there, but so I will send an email asking what type of documents they're looking for so that we're not
Yeah,
surprised when we
and-
arrive
yeah,
on some.
And the mayor asked that you contact Carol to make sure you're on the agenda for that night, which we already are based on what I heard the other night, amongst other stuff. So,
All of the city council meetings that are posted are start at 6:30. They don't have the 7th up there yet, but
No, Ronald Reagan said trust but verify.
All right.
Yeah, and it's up to, up to city council, It's-
Fiona called me today and she was concerned with some of the comments that came out of that
Yeah.
council meeting.
But, somebody told me the newspaper was wrong. Who told me that? Ellen? That
I
Mrs.
didn't.
Ruette did not support Cabanera. You told me that, right?
Yeah.
Newspaper says that.
That wasn't the newspaper, that was the city council meeting.
No, I was reading in the newspaper where
Okay.
she's quoted as saying,
Oh, she definitely said, I agree with Paul.
She'd been
Yeah.
coerced into it.
Yeah.
Oh, of
If you
course.
listen to it,
Yeah,
it was,
but later on, she said, I disagree with Paul.
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I remember.
She did, toward the end of the meeting, she said,
She did send me a nice email today, appreciating everybody's work. And she wasn't sure what triggered my email, which it was pretty obvious what triggered the email. What was the word that Paul used? It's poor project
Poor
management.
project management.
yeah,
I have,
He's done it before.
yeah, he has a special set of skills involved in this.
Family experience, I think he said.
Yeah,
yes.
Yes.
Expertise.
my father made nice wine in the cellar. I don't know how to do that. So it was really disappointing to hear him speak like that of something he had no knowledge whatsoever of. Never attended a meeting, never zoomed in to our knowledge, never asked for any information, does not know what the renovate as new is. He doesn't know if we're painting the gym or if we're ripping it down to the steel. So it was not a good look, and it was not a good way to start the project.
That's his MO.
Yeah, he must forget that they did say that it's up to us because they weren't gonna take the responsibility on it when they didn't think it was gonna pass.
Right.
So now that it's passed, moving
So
on.
just for the building committee members that haven't been involved in this since the beginning, just so that you can understand, and I apologize to our guests that are here. And I originally was gonna let this go, as board chair. I take a lot of lightning rods, but I took a lot of offense to a member of city council going after the building committee and all of our experts that we've hired and put our faith in and have the utmost trust in ONG and SLAM and our manager. So
Mario.
I'm not going to let it go. Now, I was going to go and speak during public comment at the June 7th meeting, but if we're presenting on the other issue, if I'm presenting, I'll probably wait till the next one. But so just so everyone's aware, this isn't typically how a building committee goes. The city usually puts together the building committee. The city council basically decided that they did not want to do the building committee, so they passed the building committee on to the Board of Education. The Board of Education then didn't feel that it was a job that just the Board of Education should be handling, so we reached out to members of the community, asked Mario and Ed to co-chair the committee so that we could get a better representation of our community in building this project. At the time that we were forming the committee, I had reached out and asked if we could get one member of city council, one member of Board of Finance to serve on the building committee. And I was told that they were not allowed to serve on the building committee. So we let them know that all our meetings are open to the public. Every meeting has been Zoomed. Mark Bushka became an ex officio member of our building committee, so he receives all of our
He receives all the
documentation.
documents.
Back on March 8th, 2021, which is an FOIable document, if anyone wants to see it in my email, where Mr. Waldron, another city council member, reached out asking to be part of the building committee. I reached out to the mayor. She said that was fine, he could be an ex officio. So we invited Mr. Waldron in as an ex officio member. He has been receiving all the documents and has not attended a meeting yet. So I will take blame where blame is due, but we have made every opportunity to include the city council in these meetings. We have had numerous members of the community attend our meetings through Zoom, attended public forums. If anyone really wants to go, they can go back and look at the June 15th joint city council Board of Education meeting of last year, where we were putting this to a referendum. And Mr. Cavanero performed the exact same way at that meeting, where he basically said he knew nothing about the high school and that we were even doing anything. So I had let him know then all the opportunities he had to participate in this process. And again, today they were provided the information regarding our meeting tonight. No one showed up again. So at the end of the day, if they want to be informed, they can Zoom the meetings, they can attend the meetings, but we can't pick them up at their house and bring them to the meetings. If you have any questions, they know where our emails are. If you have a problem with any of the process, please come to me. Do not attack the building committee and say that we're mismanaging the project, because that indeed is slander and Mr. Cavanero could be liable. So I would suggest that he pick his words more wisely. That's all I have to say.
Also, when that happened, the beginning of the project, when we were working on almost 3 years, we sent all city council members 100 pages of everything. And then he came out with a question. We told him, it's in the minutes. Didn't you read them? No, but you did not.
So anyway, moving forward,
Yes,
just as a,
sorry.
no, that's okay. Just as a courtesy, I guess.
Yeah.
We're gonna send them every announcement, right,
Yes,
of every meeting.
correct.
So anybody who wants could tune in, and they could never, ever say down the line, well, nobody told us these things.
Also, the 3 members who are not here of the building committee will receive, as always, the stuff. Plus, all the city council members will get everything, the brand new gym and so forth. They'll see that. Okay.
The new gym, it's a beautiful new gym.
It's beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Just a comment, Ed, you were pretty good in the paper about the explanation and the clarification. And a suggestion, could we hire a reporter to come to these meetings? Maybe that would get some of these publicity hounds out to join us.
Yeah.
Let's give Lance a call.
Yeah, Lance
We
Lance
can't,
hasn't been
big,
here in
huge
quite a long
camp.
time.
He was here in the beginning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
Yeah.
For the referendum, I think, right? Only,
Either, it's time to move forward. I'm sorry that there's some hard feelings about the referendum passing, but the majority of Torrington spoke.
Right.
Overwhelmingly.
And
you
we're
know,
moving on,
overwhelmingly.
so,
Yeah, 65-35 is not just a few people,
right.
or whatever it was.
9,000 to 6,000.
To John's point, I don't know, does it make, most of the time, this is kind of building minutia. I don't know if it makes sense to do a little press
I
release.
think it might attract some of the publicity hounds if we had someone here.
Yeah,
That's what I
Oh.
thought.
oh, like a bait type of
Yeah,
thing.
That's a
Camera, you know,
possibility,
like
you're
Dick
right.
Blumenthal, you put a camera there.
Oh, yeah.
show up.
That is true.
That's true.
That is true.
That's true.
I mean,
Learn from the best.
it's just important that people understand this process is fluid. And, I went back and listened to all the pre-referendum. We never said we were having this large sports complex. None of that
Right.
was
Yeah, I
ever
didn't know
said.
Yeah.
So this process will continue to be fluid as we work around what's in our budget and what we can do. And people need to understand that.
Well, I have all the faith in the world in this committee and the design team.
Me too.
It's a great team, great committee,
So,
and a great community that's going to get a great project.
But Paul also knows that what's written in the paper isn't necessarily
oh gosh.
what was actually talked about.
All the more reason, right? to
But he
pick up the phone
chooses,
or
he
email
chooses to
somebody.
pick,
Yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, all the meetings are recorded and Zoomed. People can watch any of the meetings, which is how we originally found out there was an issue at the city council meeting, which, not for nothing, but it wasn't on the agenda. The building committee was not an agenda item.
Right.
So in the future, if they'd like to talk about the building committee, I hope that they would invite the building committee.
Mhm.
Maybe Paul's running for mayor. He's talked about it more than once.
He's
Okay.
retiring.
Yeah.
Last item, Bessie Pond property, Mario and I and Kemp did a nice job at the meeting.
Good job, Kemp.
I said Kemp did a nice job.
No, you said Mario and I and Kemp did that job.
Oh, no.
I just sat there.
No, I meant Kemp did the job. I know my,
I know what you meant. Don't worry.
thank you. So this is what we handed out, what Kemp did. Ay, come on. You want to just,
Yes, so, I'll turn it over to Kemp for a more precise explanation, but long story short,
oh, I'm sorry.
that Bessie Pond property.
Yep.
We have to work with the city, especially if we want it to be reimbursable. It's out of the question that there's gonna be a lot line revision. That's not gonna happen.
No.
Right now, you know what you have there. People are parking, then they have to cross the street to go to Bessie Pond. I'm always driving in the school and almost hitting somebody.
Exactly.
The water drains right into the pond untreated. We're 100% gonna improve the thing in every way possible.
Yeah.
But there's a little hiccup, and mostly has to do with moving the driveway up the hill a little bit. The traffic enforcement officer has some concerns with the crowding Amherst Street. We were talking in the parking lot afterwards, maybe we suggest making Amherst Street one-way, heading
That's what I was
towards
thinking.
Wilkentech,
Yeah.
so there's no
Only
traffic
going-
out.
Right.
So that might be a possibility. He also has a concern with the braking in bad weather. But I think Kemp is gonna get the elevations right. I don't think there's a big change of elevation from that first driveway to the second driveway. So Kemp, what's your,
Yeah, so
take on the whole
we'll
thing.
look at the slope of Winfrey Street going east as part of the traffic analysis. So we can kind of put that to rest if it's not a concern from the traffic engineer's perspective. These are a couple slides that we put together to facilitate the discussion. Some of the issues were they didn't want any impact to the volleyball court. It's really going to stay where it is. We're not planning to interfere with that at all. As we mentioned during the presentation, we're simply flip-flopping the drive and the parking from where it is today and improving the parking, getting more spaces. And we talked a little bit about getting some dedicated spaces for the park itself identified. And so we talked a little bit about the spaces that are in this portion of the parking lot, which, if I recall correctly, it was about 30 spaces that could be dedicated for the park itself.
During school hours.
During school hours.
Yeah.
And then we may want to put a connection off the drive to that, so you don't have to come all the way in and down and just get right into this zone. So we can take a look at reconfiguring this a little bit to facilitate that.
Kemp, yes.
Two things. I saw Fran Cody over the weekend, my granddaughter's 2 weeks ago, cross game. I don't know if he's the chair of the parking lot committee. Well,
He's not the chair, but he's
he was concerned about, number one, parking for the people who use the park on the weekends. Right now, everybody parks there. Would they still have the right to park there?
Absolutely.
You know, and I'm just saying, those are the things that he was worried about most, because it could be 40, 50 cars.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing with tech parking there during the day. So, well, you know,
That's gonna have to change.
that's a separate issue.
That's a separate issue.
Yeah, he was most concerned about, making sure the public has a permanent access.
And they absolutely do. We can't take it away because
Right.
it's
Well,
deeded.
Now it's
And
deeded
with
to
it
the-
right in that corner there, it's closer to the
It's
park, so
better
they'll
in
want to
every way.
park
Yeah.
there.
Right.
Yeah,
It's
to cross
safer.
over the
It's
road.
more direct
Much
access.
safer.
Yeah.
Like, worst comes to worst, because I could see if you try to go Amherst one way, people living on Amherst show up at the public hearing, because now all the traffic's going to go down their street, not the next one up, Dartmouth.
Yeah.
It's going to double the traffic on it.
Didn't those used to be one-way streets?
I think
I think
you're right.
right.
At one
I think
time,
they
a
were.
long
I
time
think
ago.
you're right.
Yeah.
They were.
They were a long
Because
time
the
ago.
bus used to, when
Yeah,
we
but
took the bus to the high school.
They
I
were
had to walk
one
around.
way.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you'll get
Yeah.
50 25 households showing up at a public hearing.
Yeah.
But that's another story. But like, in worst cases, you can't leave the entry where it is if we had to.
If we had to, we could certainly work around it. I think you're gonna, if that was the case, let me go to the next slide.
Parking would be where it is.
So-
across the street.
So I did kind of, this is not, you
So
know,
that's the only.
a CAD survey drawing, but
Yeah.
I did an overlay on top of what our proposed plan is, you can see below.
Yeah.
Of more or less what's there today. So, you know, if this had to stay where it was, and we had parking on this side of the entrance drive, at some point, we need to merge up to, and it would probably impact how we're dealing with this. So this whole zone would have to kind of get reconfigured to make that work, but we can work with it if we have to.
Right.
And there may be a budget reason why we have to, you know, we have to get to that point after schematic.
But also the mayor told town attorney, you're supposed to get in touch with the attorney general, just make a comment. We're just fixing the parking area. Is that, do we need anything else?
Right, right.
And if we take a 100-year lease for $1, we think that everything else is reimbursable.
So we're looking into that.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah.
Ken?
There were a few other.
One second, Ken.
Just
Sure. Go
for
ahead.
the expectation of the committee, when we do the schematic design, is there any need for us to keep the schematic design estimate for the portion that's outside of the current parcel separate?
Depends if we're gonna lose that area or not.
I think we
Is there a
do.
benefit to the group of knowing the value of developing that parcel rather than losing that into the entire site estimate?
I think there's always a value, but
Okay.
yeah, that's just my opinion as a
Yeah.
developer.
Just want to make sure it wasn't a detriment to do. I mean, we can easily do it.
We should know.
I
that.
want to provide it that way if that's what would be best for.
Why would it be a detriment?
What I'm saying is I'd rather know about it before, as long as it wouldn't sway discussion one way or another,
Right.
you know?
We have to know.
Yeah.
And Dave, I think my recollection from our prep meeting with the state was that they wanted it broken out as well.
Oh, they do, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Because we're changing it?
It was, I can't remember if it was the meeting with the state or if it was another meeting that we were at.
Yeah, it wasn't with the state.
Somebody wanted it broken out
Yeah,
for a
Costa
reason.
didn't say yet, so,
I'm not sure why,
yeah.
but maybe it was this group, I don't recall. But anyway, I think it would be beneficial to know
Sounds
the amount
Right,
that's
to know,
on the
yeah.
other side.
Yeah.
Better to know as much as we can, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Some other questions that came from, so we discussed the wetlands impact. Didn't seem like there was too much concern from the wetlands officer. You know, we are doing some grading within the regulated zone, but we're not impacting the wetlands proper. We are not, there's a culvert that comes from the neighboring parcels to the east that comes underneath and drains into the pond. We're not touching any of that. We talked about that. Parks and Rec had some questions about the regrading along this edge and how that might impact a future capital improvement project that they have on their radar screen for putting a walking path around the pond. And we suggested that we could just simply work with them and grade that in now. And so we could create a bench that could become a future walk.
Right.
You know, so that seemed to resolve that issue. That's pretty much a summary of what we talked about. I think it was a good meeting because we got a lot of things out and discussed.
Parking fellow was there, the police chief, the fire chief, Vic Michelle, Park and Rec,
Park and Rec Commission.
Commissioner,
Patty was there.
Patty was there. So everybody, you know.
Yep.
They were, the Park and Rec, they were worried about one thing. Who's paying for
Right.
the skate park removal?
I'll lift it by hand.
Fiona.
Let's start a GoFundMe.
We gave them an idea.
Depends if I can use a bulldozer.
dynamite.
Yeah. We have a quid pro quo with them, so we can work on it. And we're helping with the pond because we're cleaning it though.
Right,
Yeah.
we're treating the water before it goes in
Goes
it,
in there.
right? I think, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We have to.
Yeah.
So it was kind of I got the impression it was all over the place. There was moments where I didn't think they were in favor at all, but then I think everybody realizes it needs to be done. Vic made the comment of, geez, if we're not changing, I mean, it's really the same as renovating the parking lot.
Right.
You know, the big sticking point is moving the entrance.
I see.
So Ken just talked about doing their little walk around.
Yeah.
We're probably gonna have a lot of process on this job, but we're gonna be making a lot of stuff. Why don't we offer to them to do it? I mean, while we're there, it's not a lot of money. I mean, a thought.
It exists in some places.
I mean, if you're gonna bench
Yeah, I
around
mean,
the pond.
everything costs money, so. we just need to
Well, I
be careful with
understand.
that.
I'm saying rather than them force other things down our throat.
Yeah, maybe we could do a portion of it.
Right.
Sure.
Yeah, maybe the areas that we're going to impact.
That we're gonna
We can
impact,
do
yeah.
that.
I don't think they're gonna pay that. I would suspect it's just gonna be processed.
No, yeah,
They were talking about stone
Yeah,
dust.
stone dust.
Yeah.
It'll give more room for the fishermen, if that driveway's not right there.
Yeah.
I've almost hit a few tackle boxes
Yeah.
full of them.
There's so many little kids that run across that
Yeah.
road
Yes. they
every time I
are.
go
Very
to
dangerous.
school.
But even
Yeah.
teenagers,
Yeah.
you know, not
Yeah,
just
they don't
little
look.
ones, they
They
don't
just go.
look.
Yeah, some of the boards,
Yeah,
Splash
yeah.
pad.
oh, yeah.
They can have littler kids.
Listen, I think I'm going to start the process of getting into Lowe's, speak to the manager, get a regional guy to talk to, because if you guys are okay with it, I think that's a real option for us going
During
forward
during
during construction, to have people park back there and shuttle them in with the buses. So I'll start that process.
There's a lot of spots back there.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know what that's gonna look like, sound like. I mean, I expect them to be good neighbors and play ball. They may tell us we gotta plow it or whatever. That's fine.
But I think
Actually,
high
might be the
schools
landlord.
used to
Yeah,
park
it
there
might be the
2
landlord.
years ago.
What's that?
High school kids used to park there years ago.
Oh, yeah,
also.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
And come in, you know, up the
Yeah.
back way.
Well, they were parking all right.
Is there street parking, not Domain,
Then they
but
put
the
the
one
lights
that
in.
goes in front of Grand
Currently?
Village, which is not Grand Village anymore?
Yeah. Is there parking?
Currently?
I didn't see any no parking signs, that's
Yeah.
why I wasn't sure.
Oh,
Where,
no,
in that
there
little
is.
cul-de-sac?
People do park
The
on,
road.
where the apartments are, that side. I've seen cars there,
Yeah.
but
When they're visiting.
yeah, when they're
Yeah.
visiting or if they live right there and it's not winter. Yeah, I've seen cars there, but not very many. There's
No.
usually like one or two and that's it. So,
They're gonna have to approve it.
because you're right, there are no parking signs there, so.
I didn't see any
There,
no
there aren't
parking
any, right?
signs,
So
so,
there
I
aren't
mean,
any
it's
signs there,
probably my estimate, 15 spots on each side of the road there, if you
Right.
can park there. But that might impede the construction vehicles, if people are parked on that road, I don't know which way
Yeah.
they would come in.
So
Well, as
that,
long as
Kemp,
we
do you think we
communicate
would
with
need that parking lot? We would, right? We need that parking lot next year?
This lot here?
No, the temporary one behind the plaza there. We need to clear out of the parking lot this time next year?
Yes,
We do, right, Dave?
absolutely. First place we gotta start
Yeah,
is.
right,
the
okay.
building footprint.
So we'll need it from March, right?
Well, yeah, May.
May.
Okay, May. So it's only 2 months next year, really, of school time, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So May, June.
Okay.
We should probably, as a courtesy at some point too, notify Wolcott that they're gonna lose their parking in May of next year.
Yeah, I would suggest they make an arrangement with that big church parking lot
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
over off of whatever it
Oh,
is.
Fern Drive there?
Yeah.
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 It's huge.
The Methodist church.
Yeah, it sits there empty all day.
Yep.
You want to take care of that?
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
May, June of 22. Then we got September.
Yeah.
June.
Comments for the video?
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Eddie.
Okay. Two things, John. We met with the commissioning agent and we went through 7 pages of what he needs before he gets started. So we went through that, working on his contract. Also, Eagle Environmental walked the building yesterday with us, and he's coming out and this week and next week to go through what the asbestos and so forth, everything looks like. So he's on board and going through that. So that's, and the mooring guy is still out there, his equipment is still there. And that's all I have.
The boring guy.
He's boring. Look at him, buddy.
It's a tough title to drag around.
Oh, you're lucky I love you.
Okay,
Put that down, Sue.
all right.
Comments for the good of the order? Kemp, anything?
All set.
Casey?
Nope.
Alan?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Do you like the cookies?
The cookies were delicious.
Okay, it takes,
She did a good
she
job.
doubled the cookies. There was no cookies last week. Oh, I get it.
Well, I'm glad I wasn't here.
Ally started it.
Yeah.
Ally started it.
Karen, anything? Dave?
Nothing for me.
I'm all set.
Okay.
Yes, there.
Back in
Awesome,
range.
thank you. Very exciting process. Thank you.
Good meeting.
No, all set. Thank you, guys. I know that we're a tough group to work with, but we mean well.
You guys are great to work
No,
with.
thank you.
Thank
You're
you
really
for
enjoying
for answering.
I've heard that before.
Yeah. Do you have a motion to adjourn? Oh, the future meeting in 2 weeks?
Okay,
Just give us that date, young man.
we are looking at,
June 3rd.
Is it June 1st?
it is June number 3.
We can't do it.
Oh, we can't do that.
Scholarship night.
A scholarship night.
Should we meet on
Wait, one
Wednesday?
second. While you're talking about that, just let me ask a question.
No
Scholarship
policy.
night? There are some people who graduated with Mr. Raskowski, not me. If people wanted to go see him, is he speaking in person or not?
Yes.
Yeah.
So could certain board members go see him?
You could go to scholarship night,
Okay, we weren't sure if it was restricted or not.
right? Isn't it?
It's
Yes,
open to
board
everybody.
members can, we just
You're
kind
all
of make
set
sure
up.
that people are,
Yeah.
still are under social distancing.
we got-
Yeah,
Everybody has to wear
I was just
a
asking.
Have to wear a
mask.
mask.
Mr. Ucalito,
Some people
just
have-
inside.
I know we do. I know we
At a school
do.
event.
I did very good.
Oh, wait, oh,
Do we want to meet Wednesday, the 2nd?
The second?
We have a Board of Ed subcommittee meeting.
Yeah.
Board of Ed subcommittee.
Jeez, how about,
How about the Tuesday, the 1st?
God, that's gonna be
wait, just.
Equity committee.
a, what is that?
Equity committee.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's gonna
that's a
get crunchy.
Crazy week.
Yeah.
Friday the 4th?
What time is scholarship night?
Just
I'm out.
7.
No,
But there's
a
something
meeting-
before it.
There's
Yeah.
also an awards assembly at 5:30
5:30.
before.
And it's at the high school?
Yeah.
what time is that equity meeting?
6.
6.
Yeah.
What about
Can we-
Monday?
Can we do,
What was
can we do
Monday?
like a 4 or something like that?
Yeah, on the 1st.
Yeah.
We Zoom on equity anyway.
Yeah, so if you could do a 4 to
Yeah.
6
Yeah.
for this.
Well,
I
Or
can- I'll
could
just-
they, yeah, that's,
4
could
on
they,
what
What
day?
time can you get
could,
there?
you think they could
Tuesday
move
the
equity to
1st.
6:30, so we
No,
could
I can
do
get
4:30, because like you're not bad.
No, he's back, he said.
what's that?
Fiona. He's
You
back.
can be back for 4 hours?
What?
Oh, I thought you said you couldn't get back.
Oh, I can get back.
How about that, guys? 4 o'clock Tuesday the 1st.
Yeah, I can be here for.
Casey, you okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Casey, okay?
And Sue's gonna let you out of the house?
Tuesday the 1st at 4?
Yeah.
The 2 lawyers will get.
Looking for reasons to get out
So
there.
what time then?
We all
4
work.
o'clock
When?
on the 1st. Yeah, I'll send you a note now.
Yeah. I can do 4.
Oh, you know what's bad about that?
What's back?
Isn't that the day after Memorial Day?
It's too early for lunch.
Long
It is the
weekend.
day after
Yeah.
Memorial.
Yes, it is. That's okay. We're gonna run out of days.
What's the day after Memorial?
Yeah,
June 1st.
June 1st.
that's okay.
That's okay.
That's the first.
Welcome back.
Okay, June 1st, it's the date.
Okay,
They'll be here before you know it.
So moved.
okay. Second,
Wait a minute.
Gary.
Second.
who seconded it?
Hmm.
Marlon.
Harmless.
7:02.
Yeah.
I guess I can throw this
7:02.
pencil away now. Since we know it doesn't work.
Do you want to do it?
Thanks, everybody.
I know, I have a few.